Looking for these better days.
It is Thursday, July 2nd. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. The U.S. men's national team defeated Bosnia and Herzegovina 2-0 to advance to the round of 16 at the World Cup. We will preview today's action as well, talk about what happened yesterday, and in the NBA, a surprising blockbuster trade between the Celtics and the 76ers. As you can tell, the mic's still broken. The new one hasn't arrived yet. We are waiting on shipment for that, but plenty to get to here on this episode of Better Day presented by FanDuel. It's 4th of July weekend, so I hope you guys are going to stay safe out there this weekend and really enjoy the time with your family, with your friends, have a nice barbecue, but please, most importantly, be safe above anything. Enjoy all the baseball and all the sports and the World Cup stuff that's going on here throughout this 4th of July weekend. Yesterday, the U.S. men's national team with a 2-0 victory over Bosnia and Herzegovina as they advanced to the round of 16. And boy, there's a lot of controversy behind yesterday's game. First off, the United States scored one goal early in the first half that was taken away due to an offsides call. Then they finally score. It's 1-0. They score again. It gets taken away from being, another offsides call. And then they finally score again in the 82nd minute to make it 2-0 and go on to win by that 2-0 score. Faux Balogun, the United States' talented young striker who scored his third goal of the World Cup yesterday, received a red card in the 64th minute and not only was removed from the game yesterday, but because of the red card, will serve a suspension and will not be on the pitch when the U.S. take on Belgium in the round of 16. And that is a crucial blow to this U.S. men's team. I tweeted out last night, in no world is that a red card and an ejection. There was no call, in fact, on the play that actually happened. They did a VAR review, and it showed that he dragged his cleats on the back of the Bosnia defender's leg and onto his foot. But it was incidental. And I know, like, most fouls and whatnot are incidental, but really, if you're going to give a red card after a review, after VAR review, I think you have to you have to assume intent, or you have to really believe that that was such a dangerous act that it deserves to be a red card so that nobody else repeats that dangerous act moving forward. Yellow card, absolutely. Dangerous play, be cautious now moving forward. But a red card, that is ridiculous. Just the fifth American to receive a red card in the World Cup. The last time was Eric Wynalda in 1990. He's also the first player to score a goal and be sent off in a World Cup knockout game since Zinedine Zidane for France when he had that headbutt in the 2006 final. Despite being down to 10 men for well over a half an hour, the U.S. did finish that 2-0 victory. And now, just what are their chances going up against Belgium without our top scorer? Current odds up on FanDuel, believe it or not. The United States minus 120 to advance, Belgium minus 102. That game will be coming up on Monday night. Elsewhere yesterday, England with a 2-1 come from behind victory over Congo. They were trailing for the majority of the game as Congo scored in the 7th minute. And I had Congo team total under a half a goal. They scored that one goal in the 7th minute. They didn't score for the remainder of the game. England got the equalizer from Harry Kane in the 75th minute, and then Harry Kane with a ridiculous goal in the 86th minute gave England the 2-1 victory. And so they advance. And I already mentioned the United States will play Belgium, and that's because Belgium comes from behind to defeat Senegal 3-2 as they score two goals in the late stages of the game. Lukaku scored in the 86th minute. They then got the equalizer in the 89th minute and scored in the 125th minute on a controversial penalty that was awarded. Go figure there. What a day it was at the FIFA World Cup, and it should hopefully be another entertaining day today with three more games in your round of 32 schedule. Spain against Austria, where the Spanish are minus 950 to advance up on FanDuel. Austria plus 590. Portugal takes on Croatia. Portugal minus 300. Croatia plus 230. And Switzerland versus Algeria. Switzerland minus 210. Algeria plus 168. Major League Baseball make it 7 straight losses for the Yankees, their longest losing streak in 3 years, as they fell to the Tigers 6-2 in 11 innings yesterday. They were down 2-0 after being held to just 2 hits for the majority of the game. They did score 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth, though, to tie the game, and then they couldn't score in the 10th, and Detroit puts up 4 in the top of the 11th. Yankees unable to score in the 11th either, so 6-2 the final. 7 straight losses for the New York Yankees, and thankfully for them, a day off here on Thursday. Elsewhere yesterday, the Cubs put up a 23 spot on the Padres, 23-3, 8 home runs. Now, there was a lot of wind at Wrigley, like there always is in certain parts of the calendar. And the total on yesterday's game was high. It was upwards of 12 and a half, 13, and rightfully so. 8 home runs for the Cubs, 23 runs scored, 3 home runs alone from Dansby Swanson, as the Cubs have now won 5 straight games. Here's a look at your schedule for today. Day game in Philadelphia. Jared Jones on the mound for the Pittsburgh Pirates against Alan Rangel and the Phillies. Philadelphia up on FanDuel minus 131. The Reds are at the Brewers. Chase Burns for Cincinnati. Jacob Mizorowski for the Brewers. Brewers minus 199. The Marlins, who got cooled off with a 6-3 loss to the Rockies last night. They were back in action in Colorado. Ryan Gusto goes for Miami. Michael Lorenzen for Colorado. Marlins minus 126. White Sox at the Guardians. Davis Martin for Chicago. Slade Ciccone for Cleveland. White Sox minus 122. Tonight, the Cardinals are at the Braves. Dusty May on the mound for the Cardinals. Hayden Waldrop for the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta minus 118. Rays are at the Royals. It's going to be Ian Seymour for the Tampa Bay Rays. They are a minus 122 favorite at KC. Stephen Kolek goes for the Royals. Tigers are at the Rangers. Framber Valdez for Detroit. Nathan Eovaldi goes for Texas. Rangers minus 131. Angels at the Mariners. Bryce Miller for Seattle. They are minus 217. Walbert Urena on the mound for the Angels. And the Padres are at the Dodgers. Randy Vasquez for San Diego. Roki Sasaki for the Dodgers. LA minus 198. Big news in the NBA yesterday as the Celtics trade Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers. What? That's right. 2 first-round picks, Paul George, and 2 second-round picks going to Boston to complete the deal. I know that the Celtics were waiting on a team to show up and give them something for Jaylen Brown because it was clear that the team was moving on from Jaylen Brown. I don't know, why they would be in such a hurry to move on from a guy who played at an MVP level and kept this team above float while Jason Tatum was out. But okay, the contract you want to get out of, whatever, sure. I understand shopping Jaylen Brown to the Bucks when you're trying to acquire Giannis. But when you lose out on Giannis, why are you still trying to take pennies on the dollar? Paul George going back to the Celtics makes the Celtics a worse team. Yes, they did sign former Knicks center Mitchell Robinson to a deal, so he can provide some depth there in the front court. And the Celtics could still be, a 50-win team in the Eastern Conference if Jason Tatum is back to himself and he plays at an MVP level. But if they think they're winning a championship now because they got Paul George instead of Jaylen Brown, well, they're going to be in for a rude awakening because Jaylen Brown's a better piece to a championship contender than Paul George is. Jaylen Brown becomes just the 5th player to be traded within 3 seasons of winning the NBA Finals MVP. How crazy is that? And he's also coming off of a year in which he finished 6th in the MVP voting, and he was a second team All NBA selection. And so here are your updated odds now up on FanDuel to win the NBA title. Spurs plus 230, Thunder plus 250, the Knicks plus 850. Celtics now plus 1,300, and the Sixers 20-1. And yeah, I think the Sixers now look a lot better. Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and now Jaylen Brown. This move really surprises me because uh, the Sixers got better, the Celtics got worse. Elsewhere, the Lakers continue to build their roster after LeBron James's decision to leave them. LA acquiring Jazz center Walker Kessler for an unprotected first round pick, actually two unprotected first round picks, also a first round swap in a couple of other years. So Kessler joins now the newly rebuilt Lakers with Colin Sexton and others. We were going to get Mackenzie's take on all the NBA moves here on this episode, but Mac was unable to join us. We'll try and get with him tomorrow. If not, definitely sometime next week. We're going to go over all the trades and the NBA free agency move with Mackenzie, what futures bets we want to make here for next NBA season. We're also going to start getting into football mode. I know we've teased a little bit on some pods recently, but we're going to be doing more stuff on the pod moving forward as we do gear up towards football season. So we'll have another episode coming up tomorrow, and then we want to wish you all a very happy, healthy, and most importantly, safe 4th of July weekend. Be sure to follow us across all your social media channels. Hit us up on Twitter at better_day. Follow us on YouTube as well. We will have a stronger video presence come the fall and football season. And for you Better Day Insider and Premium members, the Better Day app is coming. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.